If you've been saving and investing for a few years and you feel like you're essentially running on a financial treadmill covered in grease, I have some good news for you. You aren't doing it wrong. You're just being lied to by your own brain. See, humans are hardwired to think linearly. We think if we work twice as hard, we should get twice the result. If we save for 2 years, we should see twice as much progress as 1 year. But wealth? Wealth is exponential. It's a game of nothing, 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 and then everything. Your net worth doesn't grow in a straight line. It's a series of plateaus followed by violent, life-changing explosions. There are exactly 3 tipping points where the math of your money fundamentally shifts. Most people quit right before the first one because they can't see the curve bending. Today, we're going to look at the cold hard math of these 3 breakpoints. We're going to talk about the moment your money starts working as hard as you do, the moment it starts out-earning your salary, and the final tipping point where work becomes a choice rather than a survival tactic. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly where you are on the curve and how close you are to the explosion. Tipping point 0, the momentum shift. Before we hit the big 3, we have to acknowledge tipping point 0. This is the moment you move from a negative net worth to a positive one. For many of you, this is the hardest battle you'll ever fight. It's the war against high-interest debt, student loans, and consumer identity. TP0 is the moment the engine finally turns over. You stop bleeding out and start building a foundation. If you're at 0 or just crossed it, congratulations. You've done the equivalent of getting a 50-ton jet to move the first inch on the runway. It takes the most fuel, but without that first inch, the rest of the trip is impossible. Now, let's talk about when the jet actually leaves the ground. Tipping point 1, the silent employee. The first major explosion happens when your investment returns match your annual contributions. Let's say you're a disciplined investor. You're putting $15,000 a year into the market. That's a lot of sacrifice. In the beginning, your returns are a joke. You have $10,000. The market goes up 7% and you make $700. You can't even buy a decent couch with $700. It feels like your effort is 99% of the growth. But then you hit the Munger milestone. Charlie Munger famously said that $100,000 is a struggle, but you have to do it. Why? Because at roughly $200,000, the math flips. At $200,000, a standard 7.5% return in the S&P 500 generates $15,000. Think about what that means. Your portfolio just contributed as much money to your wealth as you did by working 2,000 hours this year. You effectively hired a silent employee. You are no longer alone in this fight. It's a 2-on-1 match against your bills, and for the first time in your life, you're winning. This is the most dangerous phase of the boring middle. You've been at it for 7 to 10 years. You have a nice chunk of change, but you aren't rich yet. This is where most people lose their minds and buy a car they can't afford, or start trading options because they're bored with index funds. Don't interrupt the math. TP1 is where the flywheel starts to spin on its own. Your job here isn't to be a genius, it's to be a steward. Tipping point 2, the wealth engine. If tipping point 1 is a silent employee, then tipping point 2 is a corporate takeover. This happens when your annual portfolio growth exceeds your entire annual salary. Let's say you earn $80,000 a year. To hit TP2, you need your portfolio to grow by $80,000 in a single year. In a good market year, say 10 to 12%, this happens when your portfolio is somewhere between $700,000 and $1 million. This is a surreal moment. You wake up on December 31st and realize that your investments earned more money than you did while sitting in meetings, answering emails, and dealing with your boss. This tipping point fundamentally changes your psychology. You stop asking, "How much can I earn?" and you start asking, "How much do I actually need?" When your portfolio out-earns your job, work becomes optional adjacent. You might not be able to quit forever yet, but the power dynamic has shifted. If your boss yells at you, you aren't thinking about your mortgage, you're thinking about your compounding curve. You have FU money in the making. Now the trap. At TP2, people often get rich person syndrome. They think they've won the game, so they stop contributing. But if you keep your foot on the gas during this phase, you don't just retire, you create generational wealth. According to the Fidelity Millionaire study, most self-made millionaires hit this point and keep their lifestyle exactly the same. That is how you turn a $1 million portfolio into a $5 million portfolio in record time. Tipping point 3. Freedom. This is the final tipping point. Full financial independence. This is the moment your portfolio generates enough passive income, whether through the 4% rule, dividends, or real estate yields, to cover your entire cost of living. Forever. At this stage, your net worth doesn't just grow, it explodes. Why? Because you are no longer taking fuel out of the tank to pay for your life. If you need $60,000 to live and your $1.5 million portfolio earns 8%, it just grew by $120,000. You take your $60K and the remaining $60K goes back into the engine. This is why the rich get richer at a rate that seems unfair. When you're at TP3, your wealth is growing faster than you can realistically spend it without trying really hard to be reckless. The compounding curve has gone vertical. The struggle of the first 15 years, the coupons, the used cars, the skipped vacations, all of it was just to get you to the base of this vertical wall. Once you're on it, you're essentially falling upward. Morgan Housel says in The Psychology of Money that the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. That is what TP3 is. It isn't about Ferraris, it's about agency. The boring middle, where missions go to die. I want to be real with you for a second. Most of you watching this are likely somewhere between TP0 and TP1. You've started. You have 40K, maybe 80K. You're doing the work, but the explosion feels like a fairy tale. This is the boring middle. It's the most dangerous part of the journey because the results aren't visceral yet. You'll see your friends buying houses they can't afford or taking Instagram-worthy trips on credit. You'll feel like a sucker. You'll think, why am I doing this? The math isn't moving. It's moving. I promise you, it's moving. Compounding is like a bamboo tree. For 5 years, it grows underground, building a massive root system. You see nothing. Then, in the 5th year, it grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. If you pull that tree up now to check the roots, you kill it. The biggest mistakes you can make right now are 1. Lifestyle inflation, increasing your spending the moment you get a raise. 2. Strategy hopping, switching from index funds to whatever new thing is trending on Reddit. 3. Panic selling, thinking the world is ending every time the S&P 500 drops 10%. Your job is to be the most boring person you know for the next 5 years. Let the math do its work. Where are you? So where are you on the curve? Are you fighting for tipping point 0, just trying to get your head above water? Are you approaching tipping point 1, waiting for that silent employee to show up and start helping you out? Or are you in that surreal transition toward tipping point 2, where your money is becoming the primary breadwinner? I want to hear from you. Seriously. Drop a comment below and let me know which tipping point you are currently chasing. I try to respond to as many as I can. There's something powerful about naming your stage and seeing how many other people are right there in the trenches with you. Building wealth isn't a game of IQ, it's a game of temperament. It's the ability to handle the nothing so you can eventually have everything. The explosion is coming. Don't leave before the fireworks start. I'll see you in the comments.